It records.
All right. Let's get ourselves settled. Welcome to the good stuff.
Very first balcony pod.
Balcony pod.
This is it.
From an undisclosed location, overlooking a man mowing a park.
Yeah, some ambient mowing noises in the background.
It's the big episode 17.
17. We are nearing ever closer to
Big episode 21. That probably is the big one.
The milestone.
When will that hit? So that's 4 more weeks?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's when I'll be away.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Another undisclosed location.
Further undisclosed.
Yeah. I feel like we have already disclosed it on the pod, but it's okay. It can remain undisclosed for this episode.
Undisclosed for now. Yeah, I don't know if we've definitely talked about the place. I don't know if we talked about that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Thing. But
future pod announcement.
I think there'll be some good guest recordings while I'm there.
Oh yeah.
I intend to take the mics and go for walks.
Very good.
I think it'll be good.
I'm excited for that. It's good. Good for reach on the pod.
Maybe.
Yeah, potentially.
It's all people that have kind of like moved to Nostr.
I have noticed though YouTube has made some little algo changes recently.
Oh really?
Yeah. And there's definitely like a little less organic reach on some of this stuff. At least that's what I'm seeing. It could just be completely anomalous. But
I'm not convinced that we're the best people at hyping up our own stuff.
No, but that's okay.
But like we do keep sitting down and talking, so that's good. Like I think that's the goal is consistency over time, I think.
Yes. And if anyone actually listens and finds it entertaining and valuable, then even better. But we'll keep going.
Yes. All right.
Well, we've got a bit of sun. We're on the pod today, which is nice. I mean, the last couple were we had the ambient rain. Today we've got the ambient mowing noise in the background.
The ambient sun. You got to get your vitamin D.
Speaking of like hype, though, I've been like trying to build a little Hypeman for the pods. Little autonomous Hypeman.
Yep.
Nice little segue.
I'm looking forward to having a demo of this afterwards. But
I mentioned it last week, I think. I was like, as a kind of a rough idea that I'd had just before we started, like just before we hit record. I was like, it'd be cool if I could just like quickly vibe code up a set of agents that basically take our podcast transcripts every week and do some web search and just start essentially building up their own stream of consciousness based on the stuff that we put out into the world. And, you know, they're tweeting all day because we're not particularly good at sitting there tweeting all day.
I just don't want to tweet all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've actually got, like, I noticed this is a segue. I noticed the other day, I've actually got quite a long list of saved tweets that I've just never hit post on. Like, I'll often just, like, type them out because I just want to get something out of my head. And then I just don't hit record.
So
like,
hit drafts?
Yeah, it's in drafts, yeah. Got to use the right vernacular. This demonstrates just how little I use Twitter, but yeah. Anyway, I was like, this could be like a cool little like way for me to play around with Claude Code, because that was the other thing that I wanted to. I dipped my toe in last week. Spent a lot more time this week, and it's great up until I hit my limit, which is very often.
Okay.
And then I got to wait a few hours, and that forces me outside to go.
Which plan? Is that the normal plan?
Yeah, I'm still on the.
Probably just up it to max.
Yeah,
max 200 or whatever. Like I think even though there's limits, they're higher. I think I'm on the 100 at the moment, and then
100 seems to make sense. I think it was more just I wasn't sure if I would use this longer term. I just wanted to play with a smaller project, see if I would use it, or if I would just skip to just root code and just jump over that altogether. But I think it's useful in some respects.
I mean, I don't want to get us too far off track, but I am I'm considering giving Claude Code another crack.
Yeah.
This month, but particularly with the sub agents, because I think that's the bit that root code had that. Like when I compare, so I've been doing a lot of work this week, working with Goose to try and get that set up as like just with it being an open source agent, that like it's moving quickly. They're adding a lot of interesting features to it, and I was like, okay, this feels like where I might end up. I wonder if it's good enough for me to go there at the moment. It didn't really deliver for me in what I was trying to do. And part of the reason was it just didn't seem autonomous in the same way that I want from the code execution. Like it was good for the planning side of the business. Just me talking to the thing. So it was good at that. But like with the code, it would just go like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and like, like we're cracking on. And it just stops and sits there. And I'm like, I just have to keep saying, but you haven't done that. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah. And then
do
it
the
does
thing,
like one
please.
step and it goes, yeah, and I'd probably do this next. And I'm like, well, can you do that next? And it's like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, oh wow, it's like it doesn't have that, I don't know, built-in bias to just keep going in the same way that, that was what like Claude Code was when it first came out. It was it's just going to keep running until it thinks it's done. Roo Code is very similar, and I think particularly like the thing that Roo Code did well was the boomerang tasks and orchestration engine that it had, where it would say, take the task, break it into many smaller tasks, and then do one step at a time and just keep pushing until it was done. And then flip into like the debug modes and things when it needed them. And I think now they've got sub-agents inside Claude Code, like that's going to give you that sort of feel to it. So I'm kind of keen on that. And Goose has also got sub-agents in their like alpha pipeline, so I could probably try them, but I don't know. I feel like it's probably just needs a bit more. But I did also vibe code. I was sharing with you like at the end of last week a little project called Wingman.
Yes.
Which is a way, so you run the Goose CLI and then control the CLI like via like this little Wingman app that sits over the top of it. It'll set up new sessions for you, give them tasks, and then you could monitor it from anywhere. Because like as we're sat outside now, my goal long term is like I would like to be able to code these apps. I do not want to be sat in front of my computer. And part of the problem I've had is that I can vibe code these things if I sit in front of my computer, but when I'm not, they stop. And that just seems like, well, I'm just wasting most of the time that exists in the day, because there's only, like, particularly like kids around, there's only so much time you can
also
sit undisturbed.
Like ideas and just prompts will come to you at different points in the day, and you want to be able to go and action them on the fly and let the machine do the hard work.
I do kind of feel like a good agent might be the one that just says, maybe no more ideas. Maybe just like finish off some of this stuff.
That's the next thing we should probably jump into.
Do you want to go back to the Hypeman stuff?
Yeah,
I'm interested to hear about it.
I don't. What I would say is like the first thing I noticed was like I obviously planned this out quite a bit first, and got a bunch of design docs built out because I just wanted to get a good idea in my own mind what this would be, how it would function. I was very like cost conscious with it as well. Like I didn't want this thing to basically just go off the reservation and we'd wake up one day and find we're spending hundreds of dollars. It's not a big deal, but it was more just an exercise for me to figure out how to manage this stuff in production. So as I said, like for anyone who's listened to this before, I basically use all of these projects first and foremost as a bit of a learning exercise. And I generally have an area that I'll try and focus on to try and spec up my own skills. And this was an area that I was like, okay, well, I'm probably wanting to get at least some cost reporting built out so I can just see what's happening when it is ingesting a transcripts, doing web search, figuring out what it wants to tweet out. And so I spent a bit of time on that. What was interesting is Claude Code does just go off the reservation sometimes. It will just go off on one. And to be honest, I kind of just like ignore the natural breaks and just let it go. And then I'll come back to it and I'll be like, oh, you've done like full cost report breakdowns based on like different model usage, but I'm running everything through OpenRouter, so it's not really necessary here. This feels like a redundancy. So I'm like having to go back and just be like, hey, can you just remove all of this like cost comparison stuff that you've done? Let's just have like a very simple cost report based on like the tweets that are going out per transcript. And it just made these like decisions to just go and build more and more and more and more. It just wasn't necessary. And so eventually I just pulled it back and was like, okay, just do a like code review and just look for inefficiency here and what code is necessary, what code is like just unnecessary, and let's just strip this back so it's like most usable.
How did that work? Because this is one of those areas that I'm keen to automate and just have run every like overnight. Like I feel like there's a lot of tidy up that can be done in the down hours. But
I must admit I cheated on this a little bit. So I actually went back. So once I'd popped that into GitHub, I went back to Claude Desktop to do this first because I wanted to. I don't know that there's any material difference there, to be perfectly honest. There might not be.
Between Claude Code and Claude
Yeah,
Code.
but I just wanted to get in a different environment.
Yeah, there's a mental difference,
Yeah.
if nothing else, right? Like
It's just for my own like project hygiene, I think,
Yeah.
to just get out of the coding space and into a different environment to actually think this through.
Well, there are as well, like, I mean, Claude Code is a coding agent that will have it will have a different set of system prompts behind it than
Yeah.
Claude Desktop. Like, it definitely does behave in a different way. Like, both can
Yeah.
code stuff, like that's fine, but like the way that they like exhibit is meaningfully different, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's also like a difference of what I'm starting to be able to spot, and then using Claude Desktop as a way to essentially like triage potential problems, and then I'm reading that and going, okay, I've got to be aware of this stuff in future as well. Like, to be honest, it missed a bunch of like git ignore stuff that just like API stuff should have been popped in there, but I was able to spot that ahead of time, so I was like, okay, well, that's okay, I can deal with this. But getting into Claude Desktop was good because then it just essentially prepared like a full code review for me. And I read through that and then I was like, oh, this is actually quite handy. And then I basically just asked the same question back to Claude Code and just let it fix most of it. And then I went back to Claude Desktop to do a review of the updated code base and then do a new, like a fresh code review. And it was like, yeah, like 99% of all the stuff I had mentioned was actioned.
Yeah.
And it made a recommendation for one thing, but said it's like low priority, probably doesn't need to be done. But
Yeah.
so it was interesting.
I know definitely the way I had the Claude Desktop set up, I think you've replicated pretty similar, is that it can read the code files, but it's read-only. And that just makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's like anything, like as soon as I try and do like a code review or a plan or anything in RuCode, it just goes for it.
Yep.
Like it's, like we said before, it's the dog with two dicks. Like it just can't help itself. Like it's just. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that was my only frustration with it, is I found, like, I had a very good, very clear set of documentation around what needed to be built, how to build it out. And I think for the most part, it was followed. But yeah, every so often it would just be like, I'm just going to take a little bit of creative liberty here. I'm going to build out this thing that has just not been covered, not asked for.
So I mean, I do think that this is where, this is the beauty of the RuCode orchestrator mode. To me, is that like the large context of what you're trying to build is known by one session, but then the actual execution can't happen in that session. Like that role doesn't have any of the tools available to it to change the code, but it does have the ability to write tasks for another session.
Yeah.
And so it does just write like a much like looser, like a much more tightly specified subtask for that level below it to complete, and it doesn't know anything else about the greater mission of the thing.
Yeah.
It will just look up on the fly, okay, here's all the information you need to know to do just this, and it doesn't know that it's doing anything else, so it does just action that. And I imagine they've probably spent quite a bit of time just reining it in.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess even if you've got like a plan, like if the whole plan goes into memory and it starts coding, it's always aware of the whole plan.
Yes.
And so it kind of goes, I'll just go over here. Or it'll like, you don't know like where it's placing the emphasis
Yep.
on something like that when there's just so much that you've got in your head. I mean, and that kind of mimics like
Humans.
working with a developer. Like this is what they do, is that,
Yeah.
you know, I used to joke when I don't know, like 20 years ago, and be writing Gantt charts. And I'd say to the developer, all right, here's our picture. This is basically like a picture of what we think might happen. And it'll just be nonsense, like as soon as we're done with this. Even though we've sat down, we've planned out the whole thing, we've gone through this like whole process to figure out what we need to do first. And I said, like, I swear, like within a day, you're just going to go and do this thing over here that you've confidently told me you couldn't do until this 20 things are done.
Yeah.
And like that'll be the first thing you deliver.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's always the way they go. Oh yeah, but I just fancied doing that, so I did it, and it was okay.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's always the way. Like,
Yeah,
they just do. It's like you just get distracted by something. Oh, I want to do that one though. So,
There's definitely like a mirroring of like human experience.
yeah.
I must say, like, that's something that I found that it's almost like a management experience more than a coding experience for me. Like, I'm obviously trying to use it to learn a lot, but obviously we also want to, you know, push things out to commercialize them.
Yeah.
It's not all fun and games.
We
but
should really do that.
That's the intent. But I do find like my coding experience is more like a management exercise.
Yes.
And I've done a lot of that. Like I've managed people for years and years and years, and that's just native to my understanding, whereas like code is still quite abstract. But I find I've just naturally found myself gravitating to running these like I would a human project. And it might not be the most optimized or the most efficient or the fastest approach, but I generally get the output.
It probably is the fastest.
It could be. Yeah,
it's probably like it's not necessarily going to be the most beautiful code, and it probably will have like a bunch of redundancies and nonsense. And I mean, this is where like it strikes me that you can then refactor this stuff though. And like if I've got, if I spend say 4 to 8 hours a day building new code, and then I can have the thing automated, running like refactoring for the next 12 hours. It strikes me that I should end up with good quality code. Like I don't have that process dialed in yet. Like that's a thing to add, but like it makes logical sense that it can do this. And when I manually walk through, have it explain, and then refactor code, like it can do it, and there is a process that I can push it through, so it can be automated. It just isn't yet.
Do you know, it's just occurred to me that the two things that we've been like playing around with this week are called Hypeman and Wingman, and we didn't actually intend that at all. I don't think that.
Two men.
But
I mean, I think I will extend the Wingman concept to just use all the different CLIs.
Yes.
As well, because it makes sense to just pick them up.
Yeah.
So I use the Goose CLI. I can use if I can use the Claude Code CLI. I mean, I do think it really is the goal is to just, can I pull out my phone anywhere, like review an app.
Yeah.
That's there. So do testing stuff, but also just dictate what's going on, get feedback from the agents on what they're struggling with.
Yep.
Give them a nudge, like whatever. But have an idea, pull out my phone, dictate it, bang, done. And like I think to do that, I need to like get back to the home machine, as it were. I think that's the right way to do it.
Yep.
And then advise it. So having this like web UI to interact with multiple CLI sessions seems like the go.
I mean, that makes sense. Do you know, I think it also allows you to be really selective around what aspects of the code you want to play with the most. You know, like with Hypeman, like I spent a lot of time working through the kind of brand voice JSON and just building that out. And actually something I built out with Claude Desktop first. Like I just go back and forth trying to build the personality for Hypeman. Because, obviously you and I have our own kind of methods and approach. We've got our own brand voices, but I wanted this thing to be a little bit
us, though, wouldn't tweet anything.
It's just, exactly. We're built the opposite of us. But yeah, I was just like, there's some like really good personalities on Twitter that I'll take a little bit of that, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and you can like do a bit of research with Claude Desktop, and then progressively kind of build out the personality, refine it, and then get that into JSON, and then pop it back into the code. And that's actually probably where I spent most of my time, because I was like, okay, like building this so that it can actually like read through a transcript, do some research, and then post on Twitter all day. That's one thing, but it's like, how's it going to sound, and how's that going to resonate with people writing it? Like, it's one thing to just be like, to have an autonomous bot. That's probably not even the most novel thing anymore, to be honest. There's so much of this shit.
Yeah.
But I was like, but could we make it entertaining and insightful? And could it have its own like unique personality that just becomes it? And obviously, like, I'm drawing from other people's personalities, but to some degree that is also very human in and of itself. But that was quite interesting, is that I was able to just go, okay, Claude Code's building out the rest of this thing. Let me just hone in on that one file and just rewrite this in detail. And that was very manual, but it was also quite fun, quite interesting, because I was just spending all of my time there while Claude Code was off doing its bit on the side. So we're just doing those two things in parallel, like I would if I was, if you or I were working together, or if, we had a team of people around us. So
yes, if you had a team of 5 developers, they would just be, they would work, and then you go, all right, well, I'll plan the next thing.
Yeah,
it's just the way it works. It's just kind of nice that the turnover loop is just so
it's quick. Yeah,
for this sort of stuff.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it could probably be a lot faster, but I almost don't mind because it's so much faster than the alternative.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just not comparable to.
Well, the trouble with going like balls to the wall speed is that you just don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
So I mean, I felt like that was my. I guess like learnings from having a few months where I just ran code like and did everything inside that, and I was like, God, I feel like I'm just going mental again. Like it just doesn't. Yeah. There's too much going on. Like I can't constrain it in the way that I want it to. Like no matter what I say in the rules files or anything else, like it doesn't follow it in the same way. There's something in the way they've done the system prompts that is just like a bias for action. Which I want in the execution, I just don't want it in the planning.
Yes.
And then when I came out of that and just changed environment completely for the planning, it worked so much better. Well, and I think because the desktop again is like the agents are made to run on their own, not like and to ask questions like if they need it, or for approval. But really, you can just run them full YOLO mode, and then. Whereas the desktop app is only designed to ask to be like a constant backwards and forwards. So it like one of them is made for dialogue and the other one isn't. And I think that does make a difference. The way they program the system prompts for like a ChatGPT or a Claude experience is that it is constantly like just moving one step. And then waiting for you, and it will follow like the process that you set out. Yeah. But it's not trying to do the whole thing. Whereas when you're in the code world, like the goal is to get the code built. So even if you tell it like, right, we're in planning mode now, it's like, yeah, cool, planning mode, but build code, right? Yeah. Because under the hood, in like your prompt is there, but under that is written probably about 1 million times, right? Keep going, keep at it, done. Like fucking like nail the code, write the code, do the code, go, and it's like, it's like he gets up in the morning, gets all that, and then he comes into the office, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna do some planning. He's like, yeah, code. He just, I don't know. It's like, as I said, it's like it's like the dog, right? Get your lead out, and you go, right, we're not going for a walk right now. It's like, yeah, I can see the lead. Like, there's the lead, right? Let's go.
That's so true.
They're just like, it's so happy, which is like at the right time. That's exactly what you want. Yeah. It's just you just got to recognize, I think, that is just not the tool. It's just not one tool for these things. Like there's niches for how you use them.
It's so funny because I approached it the complete opposite way, but we've ended up in the same place, which is I just want a different environment for my own mental my own sanity and clarity. It's like I don't want to be in the same environment building where I am thinking, and I'm still at the same screen, but at least if I can segment those environments and I feel like I'm in control of how I'm thinking in one space relative to another, can bifurcate that. You're absolutely right. Like I think, especially I've noticed that with Claude Code as well. It just wants to go. Yeah, it's just like this, someone's fired the starter's pistol for a 100-meter sprint. It just wants to just take off immediately and do all of the things, and it's great. But I find like having a detailed set of design documents up front is just so much more useful. Yeah,
I think the other thing is you can't that orchestrator role is critical because you can't necessarily to do that yourself would slow down the whole process massively. And it is like you've already got the plans; it's already done. It's just you can't let the dog see the plan. There's the dog with the 2 dicks that he's doing the it's like that's what we call this episode. So he's doing the implementation, and there's the 1 dick dog. Yeah, the older dog is sat there. He's the one that they just like. It's like the story, the story of the 2 bulls. No, it's like this is just a. We don't need to say this on the podcast, but we will anyway. Yep. But it's like it's
never stopped us.
It's a story. There's an old bull and a young bull, and the old bull. So the young bull goes, all right, let's just run down there and fuck that cow. Yeah. And the old bull says, like, no. Let's walk down the hill and fuck all the cows on the way. It's just like, that's
wisdom.
That's wisdom. Like, there you go. There's a wisdom drop for you. Sometimes you need to slow down and just do it piece by piece and not get too carried away.
Very good. This is the
And
kind
that's
of
how
alpha
we
you
need
can
to do.
expect.
It's the two balls approach.
Yeah, that's it.
It's an AI management.
Yeah.
Is you need an old bull and a young bull. You need the young bull. I don't know if I want to torture that analogy.
Don't know where that analogy is going to go.
Yeah, you need somebody enthusiastic to do the implementation, but you do need like the older bull to just slow it all down and do it.
The calm ahead, yeah.
Because they will just run ahead to the most interesting looking thing. Which it's kind of weird that really human-like behavior just exhibits.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a takeaway for me has just been like, shit, is this how like I work? Like, is this what's going on inside my head? It's just, I'm just like a jumble of like all the things that I see, and then like a set of like next actions that I do based on that. Like, it does make me think I should be a bit more, I don't know, selective in what I put into my head.
Oh, there's always that priority. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I've also noticed with Claude Code is I can quickly tell if it's just going off on one, because it'll have it like marked out in its to-dos, and I can kind of see that coming up, and I'll be like, oh, I don't know if we need to do that. I'm happy to let you do it, because you're probably reading my plan, and you probably know it way better than I do, because I've had one glance through the thing. But I just have this feeling like I'm gonna have to walk this back at some point and get you to undo a whole bunch of shit. But so far it's not been a big problem, because as I said, like, it's a pretty small project, and I've done that deliberately again, because this is part of the kind of trial and experimentation phase with Claude Code. It's been fun. But yeah, I suspect I'm gonna have to increase to $100 or $200 plan and just let it go. I've seen people like coding multiple projects in parallel as well with Claude Code, and I'm just like, okay, this is a bit hectic. But this leads to like this
that
other.
becomes the problem then, right? It's like, how the hell do you know what's going on?
How do you know what's going on? And I mean, we talked about this a little bit before, but I feel like we should probably drill into it a little bit. But it's like, how do you know what to build? You know, because it's just like, it's quite easy to get started on every harebrained idea that you've got that pops into your head. You can build a plan and start coding it within like, God, no time at all. Have some working prototype in a couple of hours, and you're like, okay, and then you just move on to the next one. And that's definitely a problem that I've noticed myself having. And I mean, some of it's good for content, which is fine, and some of it's good for learning, and that's fine too. And but there is this like animus around like, what are we commercializing? What are we putting out into the world? What's valuable for people? And yeah, but I don't necessarily feel like I've got a good system for what to work on right now, because I do feel like everything is like dopaminergic. It's like, even if I'm just learning something, I'm like getting a dopamine hit because I'm learning something. And that feedback loop is really short, and I can just go out and try a new thing, and I'll take the learning from that and build that into another project. And but it does feel very much like it's just exacerbating ADHD.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess if I would look at my stack, I've got like sets of apps and services that they all get progressively improved over time. And I'm kind of doing them all in parallel and just flipping between what I'm working on. But I haven't like pushed anything through into like, all right, well, if I was going to just ship an app that everybody was going to use, like, how do I focus on like that one? I mean, I think part of it is just like, obviously we commercialize through different means at the moment of just having other work on, which is then something that you just need to put the time into and make sure you got the mental space for that. But yeah, it's I don't know, like, this has probably always been like a bit of an issue of mine, which is that I'm just not the completer finisher personality type. Right, like, it's always been like that bit where I'm like, all right, I can come up with ideas like all day. That's what we need to do, and this is great because I can start all my ideas. And the good thing about it, like the AIs, is it does help me finish those ideas. Like I do round out the ends. I think sometimes it's just that there's like the proving of the pilot stage, where it's just like, can I prove that this works? Yeah, I can prove that it works. Right, cool. Now I've got like an equal or bigger amount of work to finish it off, so that I could then launch this in production. I'm bored. I'm just going to do this.
On to the next one. Yeah.
It's just because it can be a bit of a grind to do that. I mean, I think what I also have is another app that I don't actively work with, which is there as a framework to make it easy to then put these services into to quickly launch them.
Yeah.
But I didn't finish it off. I just got distracted. I did something else.
So typical. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like, this doesn't feel like a tooling failure, right? This feels like a Pete failure of just like, I enjoy the process of working with these things so much, like in that creative state at the start.
I do wonder how some other people will deal with it. Like, so, the frame of reference here would be...
there are people that can just finish
they can just finish
it. They start.
Yeah, but it's also like
maybe they enjoy that bit.
Yeah, maybe they have the inverse.
Weirdos.
Inverse issue. I know.
If you're out there, like, please, like, leave a comment, like, if you like finishing stuff off, because we might have a use for it.
But you see this with Jack,
yeah.
right? Like every other week, there's just like something else that he's pushed to production, and you're just like, oh, this is like really interesting. Was it BitChat this week? Last week? I can't remember.
Was a
few weeks ago. I don't know. Time is just a weird construct now, but there's just so much being released like every day. I can't even begin to keep on top of it. But I was like, that's really interesting. Like this looks really cool. But yeah, the cycling through of these projects that, like, he's just got this insane ability to just push the stuff really quickly from start to finish. And I don't know how long he's been thinking about it either, to be fair. But
I think he's very aware of that as a problem. And he is, like, probably one of the greater product minds of, like, our generation. Well, he's probably a bit older than us, but, similar timeline.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, I think he's, like, the only person to get 2 companies into the S&P 500 that he was heading at the time.
At the same time, yeah.
Well, not even at the same time, because Square just came in recently, Block did.
Oh, was it recent, yeah.
But he's the only person that's been heading up, like, as the CEO when Twitter went into S&P and then CEO when Block went in. Yeah. Which is, that's
crazy.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. Like, I don't think it's his natural personality to be like a corporate leader by any stretch. But fuck, the guy can, like, come up with ideas and then think them through and question them. So
sometimes I wonder if that's innate or if there's a system behind it.
Well, I mean, I think, again, like, he works, as I understand it, like, he's vibe coding all these things inside Goose as he goes. If you think about, like, whilst he is an engineer, like, historically, like, his, like, last 20 years must have all been just
management,
dictating and managing ideas through product teams. So, again, like, it's probably quite natural to just not look at the code, not see any of the stuff, because you just can't anymore. But be quite used to dealing with that and expressing, like, how to do this or how to do that. So there could be something there that he's just, like, quite, like, that's the sort of personality or trait that you need to be in to get this stuff done. But I mean, it probably also helps that you've got such a large platform that when you launch something, it launches. Like,
that's true.
I feel like I could just launch something and, like,
no one sees it.
Give a fuck. Which probably means I should launch more stuff. Yeah. But okay.
Well, the kind of the failure risk is just negligible at that point, because the real challenge is distribution. Yeah. And
but then I also think you get the distribution because you keep launching interesting stuff. Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons I'm going to go to the undisclosed location for a little while, is I really want to, like, hone my getting shit out the door muscles. Yeah. And just launching anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a similar way to just releasing the pod every week, irrespective of what happens. I mean, you get all sorts. Sometimes you get Aussie bird impressions, and other times you get hailstorms, and that's fine. That's what we get on the good stuff. But yeah, I think that there might be some systems thinking here that would come in handy to just... I've been very aware that this has been a problem of mine the last few weeks. That isn't necessarily getting any better. Like, I just find I'll come up with an idea and I'm like, oh yeah, I should just, like, dive into that. And then before you know it, you've cycled through a few days of the week and you're like, oh shit, I've got to actually commercialize some of these ideas. We don't have to.
It's not obvious that it was a better idea than the one you were doing last week.
Exactly.
Sort of thing. And, like, would I have been better off spent just finishing that off? Yeah. I mean, the answer is, like, yes. Like, and I know it's yes. Like, it feels like a counselling session. We're both like, yeah, I do that as well. Like, it's like a group. So I think it's like, yeah, I fucked that.
This is therapy. Yeah.
But
I'm sure this is.
But
like,
I also get so much. Like, the reason I know all of this stuff is because I've been following my enthusiasm for it. Right. Like, it's very much like, this is such a new space. Nobody knows how to like do any of this stuff. Like, nobody knows like good processes for vibe coding. I feel like I've got a more sophisticated setup for vibe coding than probably most people in the world. And I feel like that in itself is just good capital to be developing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm fairly sure that I'll get to a point where I'll be like, all right, I'm going to nail the back end of this process, and we'll have stuff so it's always launching. It's very quick. It'll go into like some sort of templated system, and then I'll just pump out ideas at that point. But I feel like there is a lot to be. I don't feel like I'm wasting time at the moment because I'm just refining this system. That is the engine that makes the rest of the stuff almost obsolete. Right? If I'm not great at finishing off the, we always talk about like, one of the great aspects of AI is you can use it to augment the bits of your character that are bad. Like, if you're bad at creativity, you can lean into it for your creativity piece. If you're bad at execution, you can lean into it for that. If you're bad at completing finishing, you can lean into it for that. I've got to admit, I haven't gone out of my way to solve that problem. But I really should have like this automated kind of like DevOps constant release sort of thing. Like, at the moment, like, I got Beacon to a point where I was, demoing it at the Bush Bash. And this week I've been like moving it onto a new machine. I was like, fuck me, like this needs to. And just tidying up a bunch of stuff. I'm like, all right, I need to just remind myself like of all these different dependencies I've got baked in here that I wasn't properly recording, that I just sort of rolled with at the time, and I use that system as well. It's like, so I need to deploy both of those things then out. This feels like a bunch of stuff that is all absolutely automatable, and it is, like, in the modern world. I just need to force myself to do that bit.
But it's also way faster to rectify all of these things now. Like, you can go the quick and dirty approach to test out an idea quite quickly, and you're like, okay, well, this isn't like, production friendly. So, but we know we tested it, we've demoed it, we think there's something here. Now let's go back and refine this stuff, and the speed to go and do that is just, it's way quicker. So
it's just like, frankly, it's just less interesting to refine
of course
stuff after the fact and finish it than it is to just come up with a new idea. And there
Run
being
that
no
one.
shortage of new ideas to investigate, it's easy to get carried away. And maybe there's no like external pressure on us to do these things, right? Like, it's not that, I haven't signed up for like a sponsorship arrangement or something where I need to get this out because I'm trying to hit. Maybe that would help. But yeah, I don't know. I probably usually for me the way I do it is I just solve it by sticking a milestone on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, usually I'll sell something for that point in time. I'm like, all right, I need to figure it out by then because I can't let somebody down. And like, once I have that external pressure of letting somebody else down, it tends to focus me quite well. So I should probably just do that.
One of the things I've started doing, and it's probably too soon to report back on whether it's working effectively or not, but is just calendarizing the actual project I want to focus on. And then that way I'm not like context switching myself between different things too frequently over the course of like a 4-hour, 5-hour period. So I can just do this one thing. And obviously, like, in our defense, we've also got like a bunch of other work that we've been doing this last month or so. And that's obviously been taking up a lot of the oxygen. So we've focused on that, and that's coming to an end. And so, we will have more time and space and energy, I suspect, to get a few more of these like smaller coding projects finished and up and running and live, and so that will be good, because I also think that will give us a bit of momentum as well when you actually see something out in the wild. I imagine that will be quite energizing as well. So those things are coming, and but I would be curious to know if that at least helps. Part of the challenge, of course, is sticking to the calendarization and not just going off the reservation every time I get a brand new idea, which is the other thing.
So how do you capture new ideas when they come up?
I will like generally have something half baked. Again, just go into it with Claude but just basically go and prompt Claude into being like a bit of a idea co-owner with me, but just to help me flesh it out, ask questions.
So do you always flesh out the ideas as they come up? Or?
I wouldn't say always. Sometimes I'll just sit on them for a bit, like just something that pops into my head because it's still pretty half baked. This was actually one of the things I found interesting because I kept hitting limits. It will just basically lock you out for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And that's been handy because then I'm like, okay, I've actually just got to close this thing down and go do something different. And so it's like been like a forced mental break. Because I mean, we've talked about this before, but like one of the things I'm really cognizant of is not abdicating thought to language models. Like I really want to own the thinking piece. Because that worries me a lot, actually, just at a macro level for how people use AI. It's just like, how easy is it to just basically abdicate all of your thinking work to the language model?
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's easier to abdicate the action work of like the knowledge work. Like coding is kind of like
coding
knowledge
is an
work,
obvious
right?
one,
Like the typing with your fingers is I feel like is going away, but I don't feel like that's that bad.
Yeah.
Because like that was always like the means to the end. Like the point was to create the product and the thing that we needed, not to necessarily just craft code.
Yes.
So like I do feel like that's okay. And then the bit that you need to think about is the like, what am I building and why am I building it? Like where we start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the thing, right? If the cost of doing something goes to zero, then the only real constraint you have is like what you should do.
Well, yeah, exactly. Comes back to that question.
You could do all sorts of stuff, but like, I also think this is the main issue with code. I mean, like, a lot of the stuff we can do is always achievable using software. It was just a case of like, well, was it worth it? And we do a lot of things that are just bad ideas that people would spend a long time on, or we would do. There's good ideas that nobody really gets around to building because they don't know if there's enough, or the wrong person has the idea that they can't implement it.
Yeah,
it's just.
I feel like the bit that makes it the wrong idea is the opportunity cost, because traditionally you would have spent 6 months, a year going down that track before, like, and maybe you're like on the fence about the idea. Or maybe you fully have bought into it, but it turns out to be a bad idea. But like the issue is you've just wasted, well, not necessarily wasted, but you've spent a year or 6 months. And it's like, what else could I have done with that time? And that's the hard bit. But we've just like narrowed that window down to like a few hours.
Yeah, that's a great thing. If you can just like capture the idea, get something put together to test it. Like, as we think about it, I am just like, yeah, I really do. I need to like, just nail in this like release.
Get the one thing, and
that's the thing that's going to make it. Well, it's not like just focus on one thing, but just like nail in like, okay, how do I get these things out to test? Because what I'm like testing them myself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, so it becomes I then become my own bottleneck of having ideas, testing them, and going, oh, I like this one.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
but like I'm not like. I mean, it is meaningful. If I helped myself do stuff, like that is good. And I think this is why like the coding space of agents is so much more advanced than everywhere else. And it's almost like why if you want to be interested in AI, you kind of have to get into coding, just because all the people that are really into AI came from like a coding space, and then that's the place where they've really pushed the needle on like what agents can do and how.
Yeah. And
you discover all the different ways that they work, and then you can translate it into something else. But it's people just solving their own problems, which I do think is the answer to this question of like, well, what do you build? Is like, well, it's hard to like know other people's problems in any detail, but you absolutely know all yours. And so it's like massive acceleration in like software engineering and coding, because everybody went and solved their own problem for, I can't write code quick enough, I'll just do this. Like, all the slow code stuff that we've been developing is really like going like, all right, well, you can write this code, but I can't control it in like a meaningful way. So I need solutions for that. And then, we've got to that point where we've got a kind of setup that works quite nicely. And I feel like probably just need to like step back and go, you know what, my current problem and bottleneck is that I can create stuff quickly, but I'm not deploying it quickly. So I need to look at my process and say, like, okay, how do I do the back end of this process, and how do I get this just dialed in so that I can get this out? So maybe I need to do that before I solve being able to walk around and come up with new ideas, because then I just end up with more new ideas that aren't deployed. So yeah, that's interesting.
The backlog just gets bigger.
Yeah,
that is
is
valuable.
I hadn't like, I guess, you know, we've been busy the last couple of months as well, and had short weeks, have been away, I've had like multiple projects going on, but like this is, maybe it's useful to have a podcast so we have nothing to discuss, because I have these personal realizations and we just go like, you know what, that's the thing. I need the release part of my cycle.
I'm sure we're not the only people thinking about this stuff as well. Like, one of the other things kind of loosely associated with this that I've been thinking about is like, how much better does the tool need to be, or does the environment need to be, or does the experience need to be? I kind of feel like where I'm at with Claude Code and just using Claude Desktop, I could get a lot of stuff done. And I'm like, do I need more? You know, I see new releases and like new ways of working and people running, you know, like writing code across multiple projects with Claude Code. And I'm just like, I don't know that I need that. I feel like I can get enough done that's still way faster than pretty much 98% of the population.
I mean, even my idea about something like, I'd like to be able to control it from my phone. So that I can peek in.
Step
like,
away from it.
Like, it's like on moving from two different computers. So on my laptop, like, I do a lot more approval of what's going on because I care about that machine. Whereas on the Mini, I'm like, this week, it is just full YOLO mode. So I'm like, look, I don't have other stuff on here. This is just like, this is your playground. Go. And it does just execute, and I don't have to keep like moving it along. So now I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not such an issue that I need to do that. And maybe I should just, you know, reframe this and say like, yeah, it's like, if I have to, when I'm doing the planning, maybe it's correct that I should have a laptop for that. And I sit down and I, you know, make myself comfortable, and I have a nice cup of tea, I get myself in the right mind, and we meaningfully create a plan of a feature, and then I can go for a walk while something else happens. And at that point, I'm just walking. And then, because the way I would then like capture ideas would be like, I'll be going for a walk around, I'll just fire up, like, if something comes into my head, I'll just go into like ChatGPT and just dictate straight into it. Often on like deep research mode, so I'll set up like, okay, this is what I want to do. I'd really love like a project where just give me a tutorial that tells me how to do this. So I want to try out this new thing. Give me a tutorial that implements it and takes me from start to finish. And I'll have it, I've got tons of these, right? I just create them. And some of them I'll come back to, some of them I won't. But it gives me a place where I can come in and go, all right, I want to see this in action. This is like my piloting process. So I get that tutorial, and then I'll just have root code implement it and follow it. And then I'll look at it, and then I'll often just throw them away afterwards. But it's a good way of like capturing stuff into a form that then works like that. And I could probably like automate that so it starts off while I'm not at, well, I'm still out and about, but it's not an issue. I can just fire them off when I'm ready. But maybe it's correct, and it's like, look, that's the right way to do it, is say, all right, I'm going to dedicate a few hours every day to getting in the right mindset, to writing the new features and the plans that need to come in. I'm going to be more or less hands off with the code. If I then, you know, maybe like just dial in the deployment thing so I can test from my phone or something like that. Then I'm out and about, and then I can spend the rest of the time just gloriously desk free. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and like one of the other things is when I'm certainly talking about ideation with a language model, it's not necessarily like a big macro idea either. It could just be we're building something and there's a feature that you just want to flesh out in more detail. And it's like, would this be valuable? Are we just adding something for the sake of it? I find myself doing that like a lot. We'll just ask questions. And the other thing, I know I've mentioned this in the past, but like in my prompt, I will always be like, okay, just let's tamp down your agreeableness. Because, and I will just put like a percentage slider in there, and I find you'll get pretty different outputs. Like sometimes I've like dropped it down and just said like, just go to like 40% agreeableness. And some of the questions that will give back to me, like at one point I was just like, are you just being a dick? Like this is, this is just not valuable at all. And, because it was just trying to be a dick basically, rather than trying to be insightful or valuable. And I was like, all right, well, just let me like dial up that number a little bit and see if that changes anything. And to be honest, yeah, it kind of did. It was quite entertaining, but really, really valuable to just like step through ideas and force you to think about if something is actually valuable or not valuable. And again, like having Claude Code write this stuff and then do a review in a different environment just gives you that that clarity to just freely assess it. Because otherwise I could be like, in Claude Code and be like, do we need like cost comparisons? And it will just be like, you're absolutely right, we don't need it. It's like, well, hang on a minute, like I wasn't objecting to it, I was just asking a question. So sometimes I find you need to like just step out of that environment and think through this stuff. And because the other thing is what I've done in Hypeman as well is the different sub-agents will use different models. So we can use DeepSeek for like a heap of it for free, essentially. And then for some of the like reasoning work up front, that uses Sonnet 4. And that seems like it's a nice balance, but stepping through this over like the course of like half a dozen different iterations, it was giving me cost estimates per transcript run, going like, this is going to probably cost like $20 to $30, and now it's down to like 50 cents per transcript run, because we've been able to use like DeepSeek as opposed to having everything done by Sonnet 4. And so that was interesting, like going through the process, which stemmed from, do we need like cost comparisons? Which I didn't think about at the time. It was purely coming up from a question of, do I need this like reporting in this product? No, I don't need this. This is not adding anything. I just want like a quick cost line that tells me how much we've spent. That's it. But it led to so much more, which was quite valuable, because then I was able to go and like, reorient all of the open router config in the product as well, which was quite useful.
So does that give you, is it like in Pipeliner where it'll just go like, all right, this run and this conversation cost you like $2, $5 or whatever, depending on.
Yeah, but it's not a conversation. It's basically like one, so there's like an orchestrator
there's
agent.
Like a set of runs, like a set of calls to different agents that happen.
Yeah, well there's four basically. You've basically got one that is the orchestrator, another one that's just ingesting that transcript and chunking it up into themes, and then you've got another one that's doing a bit of research, which is basically just like a web search against those themes, and then another one's writing out tweets, and then the final one is actually just a publishing agent. And that's the bit at the moment where I'm like, oh, what's the best approach to do this? Because currently I've just got like the Typefully API. It's a bit annoying, but it might work. I don't know.
I think the best thing to do is to just use my Nostr stack and use that. Just only publish to Nostr and just abandon all social media. No one will be allowed to use it in the next 6 months anyway.
Well, that's
what would bother.
Yeah. God, it will just be bots in 6 months.
I mean, it already is. Like, the interesting thing is that I will post stuff to Nostr and Twitter. I think I might have like marginally more people on Twitter, and like because of some work we were doing last year, I got myself a blue check, but I don't think I'll ever. I think I might even just delete my Twitter account. I don't know. But like when I actually post stuff, the thing that gets like real human interaction is on Nostr.
Yes.
And like you see people react to the thing. It's you have to time it because there's no algo that keeps stuff resyncing. But it's almost perfect for just a bot that just posts like every hour. You can post the same thing like once an hour. And then people might see it when they come online. But like you actually do get proper interactions with real people. And, like people have discussions in the same way that I remember they used to like in 2006 on Twitter. Like it's just and I just don't think you get the reach that. I think you get a lot of fake reach on these platforms because there's advertising dollars behind them.
Yeah.
So they're incentivized to lie to you about how many people have viewed whatever.
Yeah.
Or like what likes you're getting, and like bots are good for Twitter. Like it's good for them. It looks like there's more people and they can sell ads on it, whereas like nobody really profits from there being a bunch of bots on.
Yeah.
So people just ignore them. I mean, they definitely are like the same. I feel like there's 5 people that every time I load it up, it says these people have followed you, and I'm like, oh, just fuck off. Like I just don't need to see this.
Yeah.
It's notification every time. But like, yeah, like that's where I get all my meaningful interaction, and you know, and then people send you money.
Yes.
You're like, all right, so maybe we just post the content there and actually get people sending money. I mean, like for anyone listening, if you don't use Nostr, I feel like you probably do, because I'm not sure we really push this enough to do it. But get on there, just go download Primal or something.
Myself included, to be honest.
You really should. It'll be a Nostr game. It's so nice when somebody just sends you money. Good for a nice tweet, even if it's like negligible amounts. And I think you get into this habit of going, like, you know, I could like that, or I could send that person 21 sats.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna send them money for their nice tweet that I like.
Yeah. It does feel like a nicer environment as well, where people are still sharing their ideas. And
well, it's because it's full of people. Yeah. Like that's the difference. Like it's like, remember when Facebook became full of like brands? Yeah. And it's like, that's when I left it, like, I don't know, 16 years ago, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And it's like, oh, this is terrible. Yeah. Like, this is just like, I don't care who likes Mercedes-Benz. Like, I'm sure that's not even a thing. Like, you're just making this shit up. And
prior to that point, you would only see content from the people you followed.
Yeah,
like,
it was
your friend, literally your circle of friends.
2006. Like, it was about the time I moved to London, where it like really hit its stride, and you were allowed in even if you didn't have the right university email address. Yeah. And all of a sudden I realized there was like another 20 people that were living in London that I knew from uni that we started, then you start meeting up, going out to nightclubs and stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. I don't think that point of life would have been as much fun without Facebook. But then very quickly it became rubbish, because I got older and older. Went from being like a good social coordination tool. I mean, these days it is good for groups, like annoyingly, like all the groups on there. But
well, I find people still run all of their like events and stuff through it, which is really irritating because I will miss it. Yeah. And then someone will text me and be like, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "No." Thanks for telling me.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's frustrating because it's the sort of stuff that could be anywhere, but I think there became such a focus, like that was the place that everybody got an account early on, that it's like the Schelling point for events and community groups, and like weirdly, like all the sort of hippie homeschool stuff is all on Facebook. Yeah, like, this is just not the platform for you guys. Like, what are you doing? You should be on Nostr. Yeah, right. Like getting everybody.
So we need to double down on Nostr.
Well, the good thing about Nostr is you only have to make one more change. Like, it's not like you were in Facebook and then you went to Twitter and you went to LinkedIn and you went to this and that, and they're all separate. It's like once you go to Nostr, you've made one change, and then you can have the Nostr version of LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, everything, and it'll just be the one account forever. So it's like the last social media migration that you need, and then you take all your people with you wherever you go. Yeah. So it's a nice low lift. You just got to find different ways for people in. I mean, that's like Beacon gives you a way in. You get a Nostr account with that you can take with you, and then you could just be using it as a Bitcoin wallet via WhatsApp, and then all of a sudden one day you log in via a machine, like a web browser, and you're like, what the fuck, there's like all these events and stuff going on in here, and you get it by surprise. Yeah. But like I do think it's probably the place to focus the energy on these things.
I agree. Okay, well, we'll double down on it. We'll need a Hypeman for Nostr. Yeah, that's going to be the next idea.
And the general view there as well is that there just needs to be more content. Yeah. And specifically like more content that's not about Nostr and Bitcoin. Because they're the two areas that like, it's really big for people talking about how great it is. Yep. Like, that's got a bit of reach to it. And then people that love Bitcoin are all there as well. So like there's like which you need, like in any sort of new network, you need like a founding group that are going to go over there and take that conversation. But like there's not like there is some AI stuff on there, but there's not tons. Like whenever I manually go and post the interviews or like experiments we're doing, like it goes really well.
Yeah.
Like I think it's good content for that space. So if we had a better, I mean, I was thinking like even just building out a quick open source like publisher where I can go, okay, well here's, I'll write the tweets into this, like the posts into this, for Nostr, and then just post them like every few hours because I know it sounds spammy, but because there's not this algorithm that keeps floating everything back up, like unless people see it there and then,
it gets lost.
Like, you know, half the people I'm connected with are all in the States, and you know, it's
different
like, do I really want to stay up late at night in order to get better social media? Well, probably not, but like some of this stuff I could put out and then. Yeah,
it's just content recycling. That makes a lot of sense. But what's interesting about like the examples you gave is that they're overtly positive. Like the reasons for using Nostr, or the types of content that you see do well on Nostr, they have like a optimistic or positive undertone. Whereas on Twitter, it's like it has to be rage bait in order to get impressions. Everything else kind of just like, you know, you could post something incredibly valuable.
That's true.
Just slide under the radar. Or you could post something that is designed to get as much visceral hate as possible, and it will just fly. And that's the bit, like I just don't want to constantly be in an environment that is just bombarding me with the same negative shit endlessly. It's like, I get it. Let's do something about it. So we may as well like sit in Nostr and okay, that's my goal for this week, is just get more active on Nostr. Get Hypeman up, and
I think I'm gonna have to work on completing and finishing.
Yes, that too. Well, that feels like that's just going to be a constant goal.
Deploy and ship.
Yeah.
But I think like with me, when I deal with these problems, I feel like it's just acknowledging that I know I'm not going to naturally do this. Like my tendency and where the energy is always going to pull me to, all right, let's start something new. Let's follow this thread. Let's see how this works out. Let's experiment with this. And I mean, even just, you know, shipping can be as simple as like with the pipeliner stuff that I was building. I really like that as a tool, and I think there's places that we could take that.
Completely.
But like even the first versions of that were like the shipping was as simple as, you know, just post like creating a wiki on the GitHub. And just being like, all right, here are examples of these conversations actually being run. Like, look at the difference in like how the bias comes out. And you run like 2 Sonnet models for 20 runs. Look at how their bias in their system prompt comes out front and center, and you can see it in the conversation and like where it goes and how they steer it, because they take it on a path that is just not included in the source material. So like that has come from somewhere and it's been reinforced in every run. So why? And you can discover stuff like that, or you take the panel format and you say like, oh wow, this is like actually discussing the thing from several different angles and coming up with interesting observations, or like just the dialogue coming up with new knowledge, where you take something that's like, if it's not contentious in the system prompt and you let it run, and it actually like, you go like, shit, that's a great idea that I didn't think of. But like, I think just getting this stuff out, like I think we've talked about it a bunch, like the best content and marketing for ourselves is probably just talking more about the stuff that we're doing. But we're just, I don't know, it just doesn't sit with me as well as, I just assume nobody cares.
Well,
I don't know, like it's
also an afterthought. I find it's like I'm not really thinking about it in the moment. I'll think about it later and be like, oh, that would have made really good content, I should do something with it, and I'll make a note to do it, but I won't actually create the content and push it out. So again, this was probably just, there's a system to this, or maybe it's just a case of doing it in the moment. Like instead of making a note, just make the content.
I feel like saying like, oh, I just need to do that is a bit like saying like, I'll just have great willpower over diet or something. It's just like, it's just, sometimes you just got to recognize things and go, all right, this is probably a flaw. I should come up with a habit system, something that just removes this, so I don't have to try hard. Because, like, definitely, like, there's been weeks where I'll have like a few weeks where I'll just like do a video face to a camera like every couple of days, and it goes well, and then I go, yeah, okay, I can do this, and then I go, oh, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
There's just no energy there that drives me to it. So I could try really hard and do it, but it doesn't work. Like it's just not sustainable in the right way, because as soon as I'm busy doing something else, I don't do that. Like it's just
yeah. It's funny, as we were talking about some of the social media nuances, I immediately started thinking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like an altogether interesting place. Like I just don't think, like I think some of that content was super valuable. It's like if someone could basically like come back from the future and tell you how the next like few years are going to play out, but you knew they'd come back from the future, you'd be like, I'm going to pay attention to this.
Nobody would listen.
But the thing is, like most of these people on LinkedIn, like he could post this like incredible alpha, but they just don't. It doesn't register at all. It's like if I post that I've just started a new job at other stuff, I'll get like 100 likes, and people will be like, "Amazing, congratulations," all that kind of crap. And then you've got like 10,000 impressions. But you could literally be going like, "This is how we're using this tool, and we've just created all of this leverage by doing it, and here's how you can do it," and yet just nothing.
I mean, I was going to say, I feel like maybe we have a little bit of a love-hate thing with LinkedIn, but I'm not sure there's that much love.
No.
But it's, like, I mean, it does work. And I think there's an interesting aspect of LinkedIn, is that it's the most geographically, I don't know, segmented of the social networks. Like in a lot of other social networks, the people I know aren't here in Perth. In LinkedIn, the majority of the people I know are in Perth.
Yeah.
And then, I do want to work with people in Perth generally, because it's more fun to be in person with people.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the only place I'm like, I mean, I guess Instagram is probably seems to be a bit like this as well. But
I feel like I see a lot of content from like a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't use Instagram, so I don't know what it's like.
No, I was speaking about LinkedIn.
I'm kind of thinking about how the wife does. But
I find LinkedIn is predominantly people I don't know.
Yeah.
And every so often I'll get a post surface from someone I do know, but the post will be from like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, it would have been handy to have seen this 2 weeks ago for their benefit.
But I think it works for like, if you've got like something that you need to, so if you're doing like consulting work or something like that, where it's likely that you being physically proximate in this space, and they need to find like who is the person that lives in Perth that does this. Like it's really good for that.
Yeah.
To be that person, and you can just talk on it. But like I find the whole site to be just like a tad icky.
Yeah.
It's just full of people that everybody's kind of selling like a fake version of their career. In a way where, like the stuff that does well, it's not that it's useful information. It's something that you can say that somebody else can add to make themselves look good on a subject.
So basically like a corporate environment.
It's like when you have like somebody has a good idea in a meeting and, and then we go around the room allowing everybody else to agree with it and say, oh yes, I also agree with that, and then we add like an inane thing that just never needed to be said. Yeah. But it feels it's got like that vibe to the place, and I can't. Like, I mean, in terms of like stuff I've got no energy for. Like, I mean, clearly, like I just barely log into it.
What's really fascinating is this like incredible bifurcation of views around AI that you see on Twitter versus LinkedIn. Like, I feel like all the discussion about AI on LinkedIn is just privacy and governance and how to regulate AI, and then everything on Twitter is just how people are using this to create insane leverage. And I'm like, when I see a lot of that content on Twitter, I quite like Twitter. But the algorithm will keep feeding me a bunch of other stuff every so often that is just designed for rage. And that is also like my own viewing habits are feeding that too. Like I'm responsible there too. Like it's easy to go down these tracks sometimes.
That's where I feel like I need to just pull a pin on Twitter for a while. Like I don't believe it serves me.
But I do love some of the like use cases. Like I've been seeing a lot of really cool like vibe coding use cases even for Claude Code, like that I want to go and try. Yeah. And I'm just taking note, like bookmarking a shit ton of tweets and going, oh, I need to try this and just see how it works.
Maybe
and
we
that's
just have
valuable.
an agent review Twitter on our behalf, sort of thing. So just like go and look through my followers and just pick out.
To be honest, you could pick them.
Like pick out interesting stuff about AI and let me know about that. Like scrape it and send it back to me.
I find it tends
And
to be
then,
the same followers.
as long as I don't have to log in.
Yeah, that would be really useful, I think. But yeah, whereas on like LinkedIn, I never say this. I just say like, we need to regulate this, and government needs to do that, and I'm just like, what? How are like these two environments creating like polar opposite perspectives on this stuff? But yeah, we could sit and hate on LinkedIn all day. It's probably not. Probably not.
I don't know if that's valuable.
Probably not valuable to anyone. But
I imagine
yeah.
everybody already hates LinkedIn in their own way.
I suspect if you're listening to this anyway at this point and have listened to all of our episodes, you're probably predisposed to a lot of the same stuff we are. But so lesson number 1 here is go and post more on Nostr.
Yeah, I mean Jeff Booth's been saying this for
Yeah.
a while now. It's just like you've got to go and spend all your time and energy in the system that you want to win. Like just don't give it to all the other crap. I think he's right.
I must say I do love the idea of just being able to send people sats for, when they just post something that's really valuable.
Yeah. I need to get better at finding new people to
Because
follow as well. Like you really do need to follow people to get an active feed inside.
there's just a nice incentive mechanism there to actually go and be thoughtful, produce really interesting content, really valuable content for people.
And you'll definitely say stuff, and like nobody will see it because everybody happens to be asleep at the time.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely a lot of the timing and the stuff, like a lot of the activity is in a US time zone. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But you just gotta probably need just more Aussies.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like what gets more Australians onto Nostr, and
The only place they're allowed to go without signing up to have their face scanned every 20 minutes.
well, yeah. So in December, basically, see a big uptick in
I don't know.
in Nostr usage.
I lose faith with society sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're sleepwalking into just a mass surveillance system and accepting that. It's a really bad idea. Like, I don't know, having met like enough people that live in mass government surveillance systems, like they're bad. Like it's like all the worst atrocities in the world ever were committed by governments. Like they're not. Like there wasn't it wasn't an individual behind the Holocaust. There was a government behind the Holocaust. There wasn't an individual behind the starving of everybody in China or everybody in like the Holodomor in Ukraine. Like it was a government behind all of those things. Like it was a government behind Chernobyl. It was a government behind, it's the worst thing is to aggregate so much power to so few people with so little questioning.
Yeah.
Is just insane.
Well, the other side of that here in Australia is the growing dependency on government.
Well, everybody's employed by government.
80% of new job creation was government related in the last few years, and it's just insane. They're insane numbers.
Yeah.
You continue to have this like dwindling private sector, which has probably been in recession, to be honest. If we just took the private sector in isolation, it's probably been in recession for a couple of years. And then the rest of the economy is essentially propped up by mass migration and property prices. Pretty much it.
Yeah, property prices and government
spending. Yeah.
And just
yeah.
God, what a grim way to come to a point.
It's not amazing.
The nice thing about Australia is that it's absolutely, it's still like a beautiful, sunny, high trust environment.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive fan of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think like if we try to find a positive spin on all of this stuff, it's like there is this like incredible opportunity with AI to just go and create like infinite leverage. It's just, I don't know, I find it really energizing. Whereas I still think there are definitely days where I'm like, oh, yeah, we're all screwed here. Like it's just going to be no ability to earn income in a few years' time. But then I'm like, well, I can just go and build a bunch of shit right now. Let's do it. It's very energizing. We just got to finish.
Let's ship some projects.
Yeah, that's the objectives. We report back next week's pod.
All right, let's make next week's pod.
Next week's pod's going to be a
report on what we've been up to,
what we've gotten in
after we've just said
production.
we're going to do all these things. All right. Maybe
probably not
make
bad.
a bit of a hit list. Like, I'm going to do like a scheduler for Nostr because I've been wanting that
that's
for
cool.
a while, and I have a lot of the stuff kind of part built anyway. I could probably get it up and running pretty quick.
That would be handy. Yeah. Just to be able to recycle your content as well. Figure out like what, like it'd be cool if you could go and pull in impressions and just go, oh, no one saw this. Like, let me just like repost that. I don't know if that's remotely possible with Nostr, but
yeah,
something like that would be cool.
I probably just post the same thing.
Or maybe it's the opposite.
5-6
Maybe
times.
it's the stuff that does really well. You want to go and post that again.
Well, then you can repost it as well. Like I mean, you the whole thing's just like a wide open protocol, so I can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, cool.
That's the beauty of it. You don't have to ask anyone's permission.
Yeah.
You can just go and build whatever you want. So it would probably be useful just to have more tooling like that in general.
Yeah.
When it's the only social media left that's worth a damn, then let's get ahead of the curve, finally.
That makes sense.
It's easier than going and joining fucking TikTok. I'm not doing that.
Let's get ahead of the curve could be a nice little podcast title.
I think for this one it should be deploy your vibe code projects, like, or ship something.
Just ship it.
Just finish something.
Just ship it.
You can just finish things.
Yeah.
Or you can't.
We'll just add this to the merch design queue as well, I think.
All right.
Nice. That's a
Should we
good place
call
to
it?
wrap. Yeah.
That's the good stuff.